It's time for the Lowell Green Show, originating live on blasttheradio.com. Ask your smart speaker to play Blast the Radio. Live video available on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. The number to call or text is 613-413-2217. And now, telling it like it is, here's Lowell Green.
Thank you, John. Thank you. So, as usual, folks, absolutely anything you want to discuss. A lot of people are telling me they're getting sick of talking about COVID all the time. So, if there's something else that you would like to discuss, please give us a call, give us a text, give us an email, give us whatever, and I'll be glad to talk about it. What's uppermost on your mind? What's concerning you? And what issues you think deserve a public airing? Let us know. I'm not a mind reader. I'm many things, but a mind reader is not one of them, just as well. John, just go through once again how people can call, text, email, etc.
Happily.
Give us the dope again.
Happily. It's good to hear your voice again after a long weekend. Hope you're well. The number here, 613-413-2217. You can ask your smart speaker to play Blast the Radio. You can find everything to do with the show at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. But we're on Facebook Live. We are on Twitch Live and on YouTube as well. Again, all of those coordinates you can find at blasttheradio.com.
Now, I have to be very careful because Alexa might be able to hear me here, but you can also get me if you just ask Alexa. During the show, you ask Alexa for Blast the Radio. After the show, if you want to hear a podcast, you just ask Alexa, would you play Lowell Green podcast? And Alexa will do it.
Look at you. You're getting it. You're getting it.
Technology is just never ceases to amaze me.
Good for you, Lowell Green.
Nice. I have to tell you, John, it's the news has been fairly grim around here for the last 2 or 3 days. Not feeling the best. But this morning, I was looking for something to cheer me up. It was a beautiful sunny morning to begin with, a little bit nippy still. And I looked out our front window here, and there's a huge tree right in front, right by the window. You can almost, in fact, if you could open the window, you could reach out and almost touch the tree. And what's in the tree but a really, and I mean a big, fat robin. And she very clearly, she's not on the ground looking for worms. She's in the tree looking for a nesting spot. It's the first robin that I have seen. Debbie says that she saw one a couple of days ago, but this is the first robin, which means that spring is almost officially here. I must tell you, John, that as far as I'm concerned, spring is not officially here until I smell a skunk. It's not,
yeah.
It's not spring until I see one that's out on the highway, roadkill all flattened out, or I smell it around here. So I haven't smelled a skunk yet, so it's not really spring. But I must tell you that another sign that it's spring is the pigeons are really in a romantic mood.
Oh yeah.
My pigeons, we're letting them out now into the flyway outside, which they really love. They love basking in the sun and flying around here, there. But most of all, what they love at this time of year is romancing each other. Now, Debbie didn't believe me, but last fall, I said, Debbie, I don't know if you know this or not, but when these pigeons, because they mate for life, they're very loyal, they mate for life, but they're very, very affectionate with each other. They, in fact, kiss, honest to God. They do it with their beaks. They stroke each other's necks. It's really quite astonishing. Debbie didn't really believe me. She thought that I was just romancing this whole thing. So one day I said, honey, come on out and watch this. And sure enough, they're out there. And there's one couple in particular. They are really, really in a romantic mood. Now, it ended up with the, well, we won't get into that.
The birds and the bees, Lowell?
Yes, particularly the birds. So
awesome.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I should alert you to is it's probably not a good idea today or for the next while to email me, text me, or phone me claiming that COVID is not real, that it's all a scam, that we shouldn't be wearing our masks, that we shouldn't be paying any attention, that it's all a government plot. I very frequently get this kind of stuff, and I'm sure you do as well, John.
Oh, I dealt with it this morning. Had to blow a couple of people off my Facebook. I'm
I mean,
below zero tolerance for that now, Lowell. I know way too many people affected by this.
yeah, I've lost total pace. I know that I should be kind. Some of these people are just, misinformed. But it seems to me by now there's so much evidence out there of how serious this is. I mean, we now have in Canada over 25,000 deaths. And some people say, oh, well, it's only old people, etc. Well, I want to tell you, this is the reason why not a good idea to send me information today about how this is all fake. Friday night, late Friday night, early Sunday morning, I'm in hospital. Okay, won't get into the details, but I'm in hospital in one of those little cubicles in the emergency. And there is a woman, a middle-aged woman, who, from all reports, was perfectly healthy before she contacted COVID. I can hear her for hours. It's just terrible. It haunts me. Gasping for breath between bouts of violent coughing. So anybody who doesn't think this is real, that it's not serious, it's just some sort of cold or the flu. You know what? Please don't try that message on me today, okay? Not only that, but and then I'll get off the bad news. The 58-year-old daughter of my roommate at McDonald College, a guy that I just loved, has just died from COVID in Quebec. She had no prior problems. They're not even sure where she contacted it, but that's what's happening. These new variants are deadly. So once again, I say, folks, don't spread these stories about how you shouldn't get vaccinated, that it's not real. This is just vicious stuff, okay? It's vicious.
It is.
And I, like you, John, I have no patience with it whatsoever. All right, back to some good news. Well, let me see. It's a little bit, when we're looking at the COVID situation, it's a little bit difficult to find good news. But here is some. We have now vaccinated, as you know, we've got the big wig, like this thing that keeps falling off my head here. We now are in the middle of what our prime minister puffs out his chest and says, we're in a big rollout here. And them newspapers and radio and television are filled with stories about the big vaccine rollout. The big vaccine rollout. Well, I'd like to know where. I mean, you got a few thousand. So right now, and I just checked this morning, as of 9 o'clock last night, we had vaccinated 6.56 million Canadians, half vaccinated. Okay? Now, because let's say that we have to vaccinate 30 million people with 2 doses each in order to be fully vaccinated, and in order for us to return to some deal of normalcy, we need a total of 60,000 doses, right? 30 million, there's 38 million people. Let's say we have to vaccinate
60 million doses.
60 million, yeah. What did I say? Okay.
I think you said 60,000.
Okay, I'm a little fuzzy today.
So, that's why I'm here.
So 30 million, if we're going to fully vaccinate 30 million people of 38 million, we need 60 million doses.
Yep.
So far, and this is almost 4 months, the first doses came out December 14. So we are approaching the 4-month point, okay? Well, we're 3.5 months, almost 4 months. And in that period, we have vaccinated 6.56 million Canadians. Sounds like a hell of a lot. There's just a problem. We're short 54.44 million doses. We've got 6.56 vaccinated. So if we're going to, if we're going to have the 60 million, we only need 54 million more. So, I mean, it's taken us 4 months to get 6 million. That's what? about a million per month.
It's a snail's pace, whatever it is.
I just want to point out, folks, that we still have a fair distance to go. It's unbelievable. The media, you watch the media, listen and say, oh, this is really great, And no, and then Trudeau puffs out his chest again. We've got 2 million more doses coming to Canada next week sometime, or maybe the week after that, or Who knows? But another 2 million. So that's great, folks. That means that we will have vaccinated a few more than 8 million, which means that we only have 52 million more to vaccinate. We only need 52 million more doses. Folks, do the mathematics. Do the mathematics. I mean, 2 million, it sounds, oh my God, a big deal, 2 million. It's peanuts.
That doesn't even take care of Ottawa.
Doesn't even take, yeah, well, the 2 million would just about do Ottawa, right?
Yep.
The 2 doses.
Yep.
See, that's where we're being so badly misled. The Trudeau and a lot of the media is pretending that if you've got the 1 dose, you're vaccinated. You are not. You're only half vaccinated, and there's increasing evidence that it loses its effectiveness. I must tell you that getting back to my hospital experience, those nurses, I watched. I mean, we had in the emergency room or whatever you call it, there were 2 COVID cases in right in there. Apparently, all of the beds are full. The woman that I listened to, apparently it was not a very serious COVID case, but I mean, she was fighting for breath. And so I talked to one of the nurses and I said, no, I hope you're dealing with this on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. I mean, they have to go into there's big signs, quarantine place and so forth. But they when they put on special gowns, they walk in, they got to do this, that with the patient. So I said, I hope you guys all have your second shot. No, she said, we don't. She said, we've all got the 1 shot and that's it. We can't get a second shot. And so I said, well, are some of you nurses, have you come down? She said, yeah, we've had cases. She didn't know exactly how many, but we've had cases in the hospital of nurses coming down after 1 shot, coming down with COVID. I mean, it's unconscionable. I know you're getting sick of talking, but without the vaccines, folks, we're just in for prolonged lockdowns, and now they're talking about restricting you to your home. In Quebec, you're not allowed to be out after 8 o'clock at night, for God's sake. You need a special license or dispensation. If you're, folks, now, in this regard, let me say this. I got I think it was on Facebook as well, but I got this email from a guy with a picture of the kids frolicking on a Florida beach. And I mean, they're not wearing masks, they're dancing and so forth, doing what raunchy kids do, right? And so he says, here, you see, look at what they're doing. There's total freedom in Florida. There's no masks, no distancing. Why aren't we doing the same? He just forgot one salient fact. The reason that Florida is pretty well wide open is because more than 60% of the population has now been vaccinated. And as a consequence, the infection rate is way, way down. And essentially, Florida is now open. And the same things happen in California. California had a terrible time, as you recall. They had to bring in special trucks, freezer trucks, to put the bodies in Los Angeles for a while. Now, because, a good chunk, over 50% of California has been vaccinated, the infection rate is way, way down. There's still problems. There's no question about it. But the infection rate is way down. And 33 states now of the 50 have now opened up entirely. I don't know if you were watching the Blue Jays game last night. They were in Arlington, Texas. There was over 40,000 people in the stands for the Blue Jays game. The Blue Jays aren't even allowed to come into Canada. Go down to Texas and there's 40,000 people. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make here, folks, is that the only answer is we've got to get more people vaccinated. So I have to ask the Prime Minister. For months, even before the vaccinations were available, he was standing in the House of Commons and he was boasting, and you remember this, boasting about how Canada was so fortunate because he, the Prime Minister, had ordered more vaccines on a per capita basis than any other nation on earth. Remember that? He repeated that time and time and time and time again, and still is. Well, I haven't heard him so much. To which I have this question. Okay, you ordered them all. We're now 4 months in. Where the hell are they? You ordered all of these. You told us that you had more per capita than any other nation. Mr. Prime Minister, are you stopping them at the border? They're all ordered? Well, why are you not allowing them into the country? Do you not realize that by you not allowing them into the country? Yeah, I mean, that's the only answer I can think of. If you've ordered them all and they're all going to be here and they're not here, you must be stopping them. Why? Let's go to the phones. Barry, my good old friend Barry. Barry, you're on. I was going to say you're on. I was going to say you're on CFRA.
You're on blasttheradio.com, Barry. Even better.
I don't even listen to that station anymore, Lowell.
Oh, that's okay.
Now
What's
that
on your
Rob's
mind?
now that Rob's with the other guys, I don't listen to CFRA anymore. They're owned by Bell. Bell's a four-letter word, eh?
Don't bring it up with me, okay?
What I wanted to mention, Lowell, was my total lack of faith in the politicians to remake the laws or redo the laws during COVID to stop stuff like what happened in Toronto on the weekend with the donut burning and all the young kids out, partying and yahooing it up because somebody's doing some donuts in a zooped-up car. And then total disregard for the law with them jumping on top of the police car and jumping all over it, that I think our politicians have to make some stronger laws. And what the heck are we doing with our army? We need a national guard in this country, just like the U.S. And if our police force isn't big enough or strong enough or trained well enough, let's say, to form, a line or a riot line or a riot squad, then we need to have, I think, a certain amount of troops stationed at each major city in Canada and have it a proportionate number for whatever size the city it is, and have them ready to go in and do like riot duty and break up something like that and that party in Toronto. And I also think that we need a lot stronger laws. Like that guy doing the donuts, you lose your car for 5 years. You lose your driver's license for 5 years.
Let me ask you this, Barry. I couldn't agree with you more. We've got to clamp down a hell of a lot more. But what do you think of the fact that, despite all of the things that we know now, people were jammed into the market during the weekend? They jam into Costco. I mean, are people not getting the message that this is deadly stuff? That particularly these new variants are, in some cases, they tell us, twice as infectious. I mean, we've got almost 25,000 deaths in this country. Increasingly, it's not the old folks anymore. It's younger people that are dying and suffering, et cetera, et cetera. And yet people are still cramming themselves into places like the market, right here in Ottawa. I mean, are people stupid? Do they not believe what's going on? What do you think's happening, Barry?
Well, just look at the number that vote for Liberal and keep the Liberals in power. That stupidity, I think, is still passed around or shown when all these people go to places like that and just have to do something to get out. I drive by the dog walking park there on Conroy Road at Hunt Club a few times lately, and the parking lot is so packed that there's cars out on the road, and it just makes me wonder what social distance people are keeping their dogs and themselves from each other, and just huge amount of traffic.
Barry, sorry, I mean we see the results. How many new cases today in Ottawa? Yesterday there was 270. This is the most we've ever seen in a single day. I think Lowell, we should be doing like they're doing in Quebec with a curfew, and that way, as soon as you're out after 8 or 9 o'clock at night, you're getting busted or some kind of heavy-duty fine. That kind of control might help, and stronger laws against all these young people that are going to go out partying and not wear masks and not keep proper social distances. If they don't want to be believers in this, then the ones of us that are believers, we don't need them spreading it around or keeping it going until we finally get all our vaccinations. Right on. Thank you, Barry. I have to move. Good call, sir. I couldn't agree with you more. I think you're bang on. You understand it. Thank you. I've got to get a good word in here for my good friends up there in Pakenham at Shields. Now, as you know, the government rebate program on appliances is over, and of course the it just pains me to remind you once again that the carbon tax increased 50% as of April the 1st. But I must tell you this, that Shields, they understand They understand the financial system situation of many people, and they have really gone out of the way to keep the prices as low as possible. They're a smaller area. The warehouse, of course, in Pakenham is very large. But let's be very honest, the cost of doing business in Pakenham is considerably less than you're going to pay in one of the major malls here. There's not only that, but Barry's talking about crowded here. There, when I drive by some of these big box stores, I'd say, why the hell are you going to the big box store? You're not getting a better deal there. You probably have to wait longer. And not only that, but you're shipping your money off probably to China or Brazil. Shop at Shields. If you're in the market for appliances of any kind, they're good people, they're local, it's family, the money stays in Canada, stays in the Valley. Shields.ca. Yes, John, we've got some emails coming in.
It is astounding, isn't it, how people, they're creatures of habit. I got into a talk this weekend with someone who didn't realize that you could get eyewear and contact lens solution places other than Costco. I mean, just completely oblivious to that. Anyway, I digress. Some of the comments coming in. First off, to Jackie. Jackie's watching on Twitch. She says it's coming up on a year since she lost her husband to COVID. She never got to say goodbye or hold his hand. Don't tell her it's not real. Miranda says, just got my vaccine this morning at 10:30. Very well organized. Nepean Sportsplex. David says, still drives me crazy that they blame Doug Ford for all this. Not one peep about Trudeau. Dean says, currently, I'm a patient at the Civic Hospital. The staff has just been told that patients may possibly be vaccinated. They are tentatively going to be vaccinating 50 and over, but they still haven't finalized the criteria or age groups yet. The staff are waiting for further instructions. That's Dean. Dean, hope you're doing well in hospital. Margaret says, this is worse than World War II in Britain. We were able to go to school with a gas mask and go about our regular business. Only had to be indoors at night in case of air raids. Anthony says people are getting tired of being locked up now for over a year. This is ridiculous. Get the vaccines out to the people already. And Kim says this virus is not a hoax, but the way it's being handled is.
Well, yeah, I grant you that there's a lot of mistakes. No question about it. There's incompetence at every level. I'm not denying that. But what are you going to do? I mean, let's face it, folks. The problem all boils down to one thing. We don't have enough vaccines. That's the problem. In the United States, do you realize that right now, yesterday, you know how many they vaccinated yesterday in the United States? 3.3 million people were vaccinated yesterday in the United States. They now have vaccinated more than 170 million people in the United States. Britain is now vaccinating everybody from 18 up. In the United States, they're now vaccinating everybody from 16 up. 33 states in the United States have now totally opened up. There may be a few restrictions, but essentially they're back to normal, even allowing 40,000 people into ball diamonds. Folks, that's the only thing different here. We do not have the vaccines. Let me point something else out. And I know that people don't like to hear this, but you know what? If I can't tell the truth, then there's no sense of me being on the air here. It is this. So far, we have managed to fully protect, less than 2% of all Canadians, which means actually slightly less than 2% of all Canadians have received both doses. We are not fully protected, nowhere near it, until we've got 2 doses. Folks, less than 2% of Canadians have received 2 doses. That means there are something like 98% of Canadians, after 4 months, still are not fully protected. Let me run that past you again. After almost 4 months, 98% of us still are not fully protected. In the United States, over 60 million people now have both doses. The United States would never think of delaying for 4 months. In the United States, you get your dose today. You get your second dose 21 or 28 days later, whatever the manufacturer says. The idea, in fact, I don't know if you know this or not, Canada is the only nation that is delaying the second dose for 4 months. The only reason we are doing it is not out of science, not out of health. The only reason we are doing it is so that Trudeau can say X number of people have been vaccinated, which is an outrageous lie. They will be only half vaccinated. I mean, even with the 2 million new vaccines coming in sometime in the next week or so, it still means that we still need more than 54 million more doses. 98% of us are not fully vaccinated after all of this time. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, from what I saw in the market and Costco, all the pictures, I mean, I wouldn't go down there. It looks to me like many people look forward to even longer lockdowns and more hospital beds filled up. I understand people are tired of being at home. But, if you need to get out, there's other places to go other than crowd, jam against each other at Costco. Why the hell do you have to go to Costco, for God's sake? But, why do you have to jam up into the market? Well, anyway, it's your decision, but as a consequence, all we're doing is prolonging this. Yes, John, more emails coming in.
Costco, I sort of understand. It's the IKEA people. What is it so urgent at IKEA? A table lamp? That one didn't make sense to me. In the Byward Market, there's no restaurants open. There's no bars open. Yeah, like you said, there's other places you can go. Chrissy's commenting about Conroy Park because Barry brought Conroy Park up, and I live right near there and walk the dog regularly. For the most part, it's crowded when you get in, but there's so much space there that it's pretty good. On the main trails, though, people just forget, and they don't give you that space. So I stick to the woods. That's my pro tip. Eric says, Mr. Trudeau messed this up. Ford gets to clean it up. Our buddy Don Collins in California says, I feel for my Canadian friends and family. Don't often say U.S. is better, but this time it is. In California, 50% already vaccinated. Daughter, 21, done. Me, done. Wife, done. Fully open for anyone who wishes to have it. I had a conversation with Don the other day. He says, got your vaccine yet? I'm like, no, they haven't got around to the 52-year-olds yet. Wendy says, I have a home in Florida. It's been a no-go. Sad state of affairs. And Lori says, got registered last week, now waiting for a vaccine, 70 and over. I was told they should be in Arnprior soon, but not sure when.
Some of the good news is that Debbie finally managed to book herself tomorrow night for her first vaccine. I mean, we're looking at 4 months since these have been out. So 4 months later, my wife in her 70s gets vaccinated in Kempville. She had to go to Kempville. It's just unbelievable. And it's unbelievable, John, is that very few people seem upset at this. They seem fully to accept this.
That's what drives me crazy.
Anyway, I have a couple of other things. I don't know. We'll get to Centennial Glass in a minute.
All right, sir.
The most, believe it or not, all indications are that Trudeau's going to be returned, probably with a majority. People just love the guy, think he's done a great job with the vaccines, etc. But the most popular politician right now is Jagmeet Singh, the NDP. And despite the fact, listen to this, this is what the NDP is thinking seriously. They're going to be debating things, and some of these will be approved. The NDP members want to abolish the military and the police right across Canada. No military, no police. They want to take away all money from rich people, put them out, I guess, onto the street. It's a crime, as you know, to make any money in this country. They want to legalize all drugs, including the hard drugs, heroin, coke, et cetera, and provide a basic income for everybody, whether they work or not. This is a very popular party. It seems to be growing in popularity. And they also would, of course, shut down all oil and gas production. No mining, but somehow or other, with almost no manufacturing, no energy, no energy industry, no mining, there would be an electric car in every driveway. I mean, it's a miracle. The NDP is a miracle party. And by the way, the NDP also would tear down, this is what's really, really important for them, tear down every statue of Sir John A. Macdonald in this country. This guy's the father of the country. We wouldn't have Canada without Sir John A. Macdonald, but by God, the NDP, the leftists, they're going to tear down all the statues, and they're going to remove all of Sir John A.'s names from everything. As a matter of fact, they've already started this in Halifax. The Sir John A. Macdonald School in Halifax has changed its name. Why? Well, according to the trustees, they want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable. Comfortable. Go ahead, John.
Are they going to tear down the bridge? It's kind of a thing. Patricia says, how effective shall my first vaccine be in 4 months when I'm scheduled for my second one? Nina says, I believe if the Trudeau government gave more power and money to the provincial governments to buy and administer the vaccines right from the beginning, we wouldn't be in this current situation.
No. Oh, that's the provincial governments cannot administer vaccines they do not have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a matter of giving more money to the provinces for this. It's a matter of giving the provinces more vaccine. I think some people still don't understand that. The one responsibility of the federal government was to purchase the vaccines into this country. Then the federal government distributes the vaccines to the provinces. The provinces in turn distribute it to the various municipalities, which they are in charge of dispensing it into people's arms. But the federal government is responsible for making sure that we've got enough vaccine. They ship it to the provinces. If the provinces don't have enough vaccine, what can they do? Inject air into people's arms? Water? Coca-Cola? Yes, John.
Do you want to do Centennial Glass first and then wrap up with a couple of messages,
Glass,
or
folks.
vice versa? Go ahead.
Spring is obviously here, despite the fact I haven't smelled a skunk yet. This is a time when a lot of people are thinking of renovating new windows, doors, etc. This is the time to do it. If you're in the market, even thinking about it, give Centennial Glass a call. They are pros. These people know their business. They've done this for since 1940s, since 1967. Wait till I get the years right. 67, right? Yeah. So they know the business. They will be very honest. They will give you an estimate, and it's up to you to decide whether to accept it or not. But at least, once again, we're dealing with a local company here, folks. They all of the people who will come out and give you the estimate, do the work, etc. They are Centennial Glass employees. No subcontracting here. Okay. Keep the money local. Please keep it local. If you can, keep it local. Why would you not? CentennialGlass.ca. Yes, John.
All right, just a couple of quick texts and comments to wrap things up here. A text at 613-413-2217. In our little village of Finch, Ontario, we can get our vaccines in Winchester, Castleman, or Cornwall. Peter has a question. Where is the damn needle? What's the holdup? No excuse. We should have 5 to 10 million done with both. David says, I have a dilemma. I'm 55. I have immune limitations. I'm also prone to blood clots. I could go for the AZ shot at the drugstore, but I'm reluctant to do so. And Anthony says, people are upset. That's why they're protesting no more lockdowns. Some of the comments on your Facebook today, Lowell.
Yeah, but the problem is if you're protesting this, you're just adding to the problem. I mean, instead of protesting and marching without your masks and so forth, try and convince your family, people in the neighborhood to distance, do what you're supposed to. That if you really don't want more lockdowns, then you know what to do. Wear the mask, get a vaccination as soon as you can, distance, etc., etc. You know what to do. And protesting is, well, it's your right. But if you want it to last longer, just keep going out there, folks, without a mask, no distance. That's the way to prolong it. That's the way to cause more deaths. By the way, once again, I am asking the Prime Minister, Mr. Prime Minister, you kept telling us and still assure us that on a per capita basis, we have more vaccines than any other nation on earth. Where are the vaccines? Even after 2 million come in this week, we will still need another 55 million doses to make sure everybody is fully vaccinated. 55 million more. Only 2% of us have been fully protected. 98% of Canadians haven't had the second shot yet. We're not fully protected. Mr. Prime Minister, where are the vaccines? Thank you all. Thank you, John. We'll be back.
Lowell Green, live on blasttheradio.com. Show info and links at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Subscribe to the Lowell Green Podcast.